Reserve time.
Their splits.
Reserve time.
The scaling is just not there. Their heroes don't farm up very well. And it just looks like they have this lineup that wants to fight, but it's very, very good at fighting in the lane. Like Bane is one of the best laning supports in the game, and of course he can transition with that grip, which allows you that single target disable. But you want to talk about single target disables, LD? We got Batrider and Doom on the fray on the other team, and you're getting outclassed a little bit here, so it's gonna be a little bit dangerous, I would say, for MYM if they let this game get out of hand too quickly.
And I guess the question is, how are they going to look to lane this? It kind of looks like dual lanes with the Bane, Mirana, Abad, and Weaver, but I guess if that is the case, then the main question is who's going mid for the squad?
And that's the question mark.
It up yet.
On the last one, we'll find out. I mean, the versatility of their heroes is that Mirana as well as Weaver, they can go mid. I think, for example, Artesia did Weaver mid the other day, about a week or two ago, and Mirana mid. The Priestess mid is something that C9 does a lot with Sing Sing. Lately they switched it up to put Sing Sing on the safe lane to give him an even better start. But the potential is certainly there. Now this last pick, I really feel like I commit to sort of shutting down the Shadow Fiend, but this SF, who is on the dire side, yeah, he'll miss out a little bit of farm because the jungle is further away, and if he gets stomped in the lane kind of thing, his supports are actually not the best when it comes to ganking for him. But we have seen the Ancient Apparition come to the mid lane and casually just drop a Chilling Touch, which allows the Shadow Fiend to pick up really, really crucial early points into the Necromastery, which allows him to CS better innately.
The other thing I want to jump in about the Ancient Apparition, he can actually stack 2 camps very easily with Ice Vortex, the big camp.
Yeah, the Vision.
That's near the mid lane, as well as the medium camp that's nearby. So the one you used to be able to pull. So
right.
Yeah, he can actually stack 2 camps at once. So maybe Shadow Fiend doesn't have a good start, but he can do that either for the Bat or for the SF.
Now this is pretty much the definition of full-on commitment, wouldn't you say, LD? If they get down in the first 15 minutes, this is gonna look very, very hazy for them. But on the other hand, they have the necessary picks to actually make this work out in the early. You know, one of the nicest things about Ancient Apparition as a hero is that he has extended nighttime vision, and ever since the recent patches that nerfed and tweaked a lot of those nighttime vision numbers, especially on heroes like Enchantress and Drow, now all of a sudden you see apparitions to the fray and say, yeah, before you. One of the exceptions to this is definitely the Night Stalker, very mobile and very, very versatile when it comes to the early game ganks. And once again, their lineup is so teamfight oriented for the first 10 minutes that if they can actually somehow manage to get the levels and take a couple of tier 1 towers, they will dominate the map with their mobile heroes, with the Night Stalker, with the Weaver, as well as the Priestess. But as we touched upon before, the other side of the story is that Relax is looking very, very scary in the mid game, and if they win one team fight, things can go very, very awfully for MYM.
Yeah, they're also dire side here, depending on what aura the Doom gets. So maybe he gets the Frost, or the Ogre Frost Armor, maybe he gets an Alpha Wolf. They can look to go Roche pretty early with the Shadow Feed too, so MYM have to be careful about losing those mid-game team fights for several reasons, but I like the Night Stalker pick just because it's kind of like you said, it's like they're committed, you know, they're going for it. They're not going to half-ass the face rush. They're going all in on just crushing the first 10 minutes, rolling Relax over from there. And, well, how do you feel about the tree pick from Dread? I think that's the one that I'm looking at and just curious to get your thoughts on. Do you think it's a good pick here? How do you think they should be looking to use it as this game develops?
I think the tree pick might have been second to none when it comes to the defense department, or in terms of like a response. Part of the reason is that, like, for example, you look at the lineup of MYM, and immediately I think to myself, heroes like Clockwork that can just disrupt the team fights, or even Disruptor, who disrupts team fights, can do really, really well when it comes to shutting down some of the early game aggression. The Treant is just cherry on top because he can give the living armor, which allows that global presence of defense. For example, say somebody goes to the offlane like Batrider and you want to gank him up, but you always have to factor that damage reduction coming out of the living armor. As well as the other thing is that MYM, even if they're aggressive right now against the Treant, it's not going to be this. It's a very strong trialing that they have if they do, but that kind of commitment to the laning phase right now is like they have these heroes to win other lanes as well. So I feel like putting all your marbles into one basket would be a bad idea, and I feel like Treant is one of those heroes that could actually bait them to do that. It's a weird way of thinking, but yeah, I actually like the Treant pick here, and the only thing that I would prefer, or possibly prefer, is Rasta. But then again, I feel like Rasta would just become mincemeat because MYM can run over a lot of these heroes, and you need a strength tank based hero on top of the Doom.
Yeah, it's a very. I guess my only concern here for Relax is I feel like a lot of these heroes want to be using the woods. Tame My Wild's going to want to use them, the Doom will, the Bat will. We see a lot of the Treant support players will, like, usually just go farm the woods with a Stout Shield, and, you know, just, like, basically leave the lane for the safe laner to get all the experience, and... Mage Apparition doesn't need the woods as much, but he would like to at least get some pulls off, so... That's where maybe MYM can just punish them. You could see, like, the Abaddon Weaver diving some of those stacks, maybe killing the supports there. Relax do need their levels, and that's where MYM can punish them pretty early on.
Yeah. Now, actually, I do want to point out one thing, though. This is just a tidbit of info regarding Night Stalkers versus Shadow Fiends. On Radiant side, you won't get punished no matter what because the jungle is just so close within proximity that you can literally walk a couple paces and get your camp that you're looking for. Ever since the medium buff up, or the tweak rather, to having the medium-sized camps instead of the small camps, the Shadow Fiend just gets more out of it because he can raise them down regardless of what creeps they are. Even if it's Mud Golems, he has enough right-click damage. The downside is that even on the Dire, you don't have this kind of similar axis on the Radiant. And I said downside, but I guess I mean upside, the exact opposite, is that Shadow Fiend against Night Stalker, you want to hold lane presence, because if you actually stay inside the lane, what's going to happen is...
What is that noise? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Well, I took care of business. Is that fine?
Fine, I was just like... felt like I was in the Twilight Zone or something. That ringtone was creeping me out, man.
Nighttime soon, so it's fine, because
like, it's a little easier to shut down the SF, but he's still pretty strong if he's getting his stacks up.
Actually, the thing is that Night Stalker, he wants to go around ganking at nighttime, and basically a hero like Shadow Fiend will push the lane, forces you to kind of stay intact, because if you push the lane and you don't see the enemy mid laner there, it becomes very obvious what they're up to. And Night Stalker is just one of those heroes that so many players have the experience of playing up against, that they kind of know what to expect. So in terms of intel, you're already giving up a critical piece of information. And as I said, that MYM actually smoked up inside the base as soon as the game began. I'm not sure what they accomplished with it.
Said Weaver top to ward, but you don't really need to smoke for that. Like, you can just Sakuchi up there and get there way before they do. So, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. Smoking just for Weaver.
Honestly, like a mispress in terms of... Maybe, I think he meant to maybe pull him a sentry and accidentally use the smoke first. I'm not sure. Might have just pressed down hotkey, but... Well, Clairvoyance, before we talk too much about how the game's going to develop, let's introduce the teams that are playing. We've got, on the Dire side, Team Relax, 6-4 so far. Actually looking surprisingly good. I think one of the bigger surprises in this season. Shachel will be playing your Bat Rider. Dread, the well-known CIS streamer, he'll be on your Treant Protector. Tame My Wild, formerly of VP fame, he'll be on the Shadow Fiend solo mid. That puts Yoki onto the Doom, and then that leaves Wind X as the Ancient Apparition. And on the Radiant side, we've got MYM. They start off hot, but then they often burn out, like Icarus. Crit on the Bane. Safe lane will have Unicorn. Gets the range creep out in front with his block. Exist will be playing the solo mid Night Stalker, and they will run the dual lanes Ace, the Weaver, and Mini, the Abaddon.
Oh, LD. The Icarus reference was brilliant, yet painful to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't bear that hero. Please. Too much. The horrors.
So broken, dude.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I just Terrorblade and Icarus, man.
Why is that hero on Dota? That's my initial reaction whenever I see it.
My goodness. Too much. You're lucky you don't play up against one of those with this kind of lineup, like Abaddon and Weaver. Oh my gosh. Just against the Bat Rider, it's tough as it is. Or as I say that, actually, this laneup's pretty good against Bat Rider because the Abaddon can remove stacks and the Weaver is already versatile in his mobility. So never mind.
But I guess the thing is, yeah, even if you're slow, it doesn't matter. You just Sakuchi and chase him down anyway. So
yeah.
Also means you can always spam Sakuchi. Early Magic Stick comes out for Ace, and I imagine we'll see one for Mini here quite soon. And that's where Bat quickly becomes irrelevant in the lane, because both of these heroes can spam their spells if given the mana to do so.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Dread is doing something sort of neat, I'd like to say, but at the same time, I'm not sure if it was worth it. Skilling Leech Seed first. Now he's going to tank a lot of harassment damage. In the meanwhile, though, Ace is actually getting a little bit of lane control out of it because the Weaver just lost his presence, and he also invested a spell into it. But he'll get everything that he expended back with the Magic Stick.
Yeah, they're actually diving a bit here. They've gone onto Mini with the Weaver not in position to help him out. He will shield himself. Now Ace comes in from the side, but too late to the party. Now, the last time I saw a Night Stalker versus Shadow Fiend, the SF solo killed the Night Stalker, and the game was just over. This was before the first nighttime. Now that shouldn't happen, but if it does, game gets hard. So, Exista, I think, played it a little bit safer so far.
Which players were involved?
I want to say TC was the Night Stalker. Yeah, it was TC on the Night Stalker. I forgot who the Shadow Thief was.
Oh dear, that's pretty much the worst case scenario if your Night Stalker does get soloed up by the Shadow Fiend. If anything, I'd go so far to say the Night Stalker has a good chance of soloing up the Shadow Fiend.
They're gonna go for an arrow bottom. Yoki, he's got caught out by the sleep here, but they don't really have enough physical damage to follow it up. That's where Windex is just like dishing out the pain, but no, he'll back off for now.
Windex, isn't that a household brand?
I think he might be a fan of our consumer products.
Well, good, he's doing sponsors justice with this one. But honestly, LD, I'm not too sure how strong this lane up is though. This Doom apparition, I guess the apparition is kind of a safekeeper here, saying that this Doom will survive kind of thing, just to ensure it with the presence of another hero. But he doesn't really provide that much aside from it. And as I say that, actually, we see the effects of it is that Doom is the highest CS on the board. It's quite interesting.
Do you think they should have like just put Bat off lane and gone tri-lane instead, or do you like the way they're laning it better?
I actually like the way they're laning it. I feel like if they Doom the safe lane, honestly, they wouldn't take too much harassment from Weaver as well. But what they did this game is kind of like a trade-off as opposed to like what's better and what's not. In the end, Bad Rider is going to find his farm regardless because he's in the safe lane and he's going to get the jungle at one point. And Doom finding his farm in the lane is always beneficial because he too can always catch up with that that Devour ability. So this time it looks like they kind of prioritized getting an even divide on other heroes as opposed to focusing on one, letting the other play catch up.
Right. So, Rachel getting his levels. They have rotated the tree just into the woods, so they'll be using a little living armor on himself. Probably clear out this camp and then go back to the base, but they're at only level 2. The Bane's the same for now, but Crit's actually about to get a pull off here, so no real aggression. MYM, I mean, they've been trying to force these kills, but it's where, like you mentioned, ideally it's the first night where the Night Stalker starts getting active around the map, but as soon as he leaves this lane, Shadow Fiend will push it in, he'll clear out the waves. It's where Exist kind of needs to get lucky with the rune. Like, if he gets a haste or a DD, then suddenly he can just solo kill the SF, but for now it's the SF with the DD rune.
Yeah, that's definitely a very
23
big
minutes
point.
here, it looks like. Quite a bit of time.
Very big point that you brought up though. The runes often influencing a lot of the follow-up decisions, and as you said, luck is somewhat of a big factor here. I still do feel that there could be something neat with the runes. I remember this one suggestion was that runes don't spawn more than twice consecutively at the same spot, which would open up, like, I guess, small skirmishes. I'd say like the 0-minute rune and the 2-minute rune spawns at the top river, right? Maybe the next rune, you can kind of assume that it's going to be at bottom lane. You don't know exactly what it is, but the bottom river...
Are you Leagueifying my Dota?
What do you mean?
Are you rebalancing my Dota?
Leagueifying your Dota?
Yeah.
No, if I was Leagueifying your Dota, I'd take away a lot of these abilities and then...
Take away the runes entirely?
Yeah, take away runes, you know, Wisp, relocate, you know, you can't have that. That's too OP apparently, so that's gotta be dimmed down to 2000 range or something like that. No, I'm just kidding. No disrespect.
You can't have the same rune type twice in a row anyway, so Night Stalker won't get a DD rune. I guess that's the one thing we do know. Could still be a haster.
Yeah, could still very well be. Oh, another interesting thing is this. Looking at a skill build now, he decided to keep the Void at level 1. Now, anybody who has intel on this kind of thing, and it's actually very hard to tell because Night Stalker's mana costs don't increase too heavily with just 1 point. Void goes from 80 mana cost to 90 in just 1 level. But it's very obvious what he's trying to do here is that he's trying to maximize efficiency. He's using the Void to do nothing but CSing. And of course, you want to just invest the least amount of mana as possible. So he's being very resourceful in this regard. But hiding his cards like this, it's not that big of a deal because SF can kind of see this and say, oh, you're not playing aggressive on me at all. I'm going to play aggressive on you. And the result is that this SF is keeping up and being on even ground with the Night Stalker in terms of the CS. And this is already very good for Tame My WoW.
Yeah, and also it gives him a little flexibility. Also, just saving skill points in general. Maybe you want that point in Crippling Fear. Sometimes you'd rather just get Hunter in the Night, but we'll have to see what he looks to do. But yeah, a little more mana efficient to leave Void at level 1. I will say though, the damage is not that great, and it can be a bit harder to last hit. But especially this SF is almost hitting for 90 damage already. 49 plus 34.
Certainly. The margin of error is definitely there because 90 damage, as you said, it's not the biggest amount. But at the highest level, depending on how well you can gauge the situation, you can probably get the CS. 90 is pretty big, and that's why SF is so good too, because he just has so much damage that at one point he defines what a snowball is, because you just can't out damage him in terms of creeps, and then from 20 to 20 he becomes 50-30, and then you stay at 20-20.
See this, guys? This is the definition of a snowball. Ugliest snowball you'll ever see.
Stay sharp.
Oh, come on. Black is beautiful in its own right.
Now you've painted me as a racist. Thanks, buddy.
I'm just kidding. No, I didn't mean any of that. But I actually did have one question for you. Is that you being the figure that you are, do you have any idea when the
Figure
SF
that I
remake
am? What,
yeah.
Where are we going with this one?
You're an important member of the scene, and I'm wondering if you have any details with regards to the Shadow Fiend remake that is impending.
I hope there's a remake soon, mostly because I want some swag and some cosmetics for him.
Seriously. Oh, it goes beyond the cosmetics for me. As I say that, there's a rune battle here at the 4-minute mark.
That's a sad SF. And he's wasting some precious seconds on a double damage rune as well, but Exist doesn't get the rune either, so he's not gonna have a good time. One raise and he'll pretty much have to go base.
Yeah, this is a real problem for him right now. As a matter of fact, if I was taking my wild, oh, that was pretty cocky of the Exist.
He could have gotten double raised if he had just jumped him there with it.
Yeah, I think he was banking on his mini stuns for sure, and I don't really blame him. But at the same time, he's gonna have to return to base now after that for sure.
Bitch was trying to make a go on Mini, but Mini's got shield and the level 2 heal on this. Well, this could be our first blood. They hit the Sakuchi. Now the living armor gets dropped. Meanwhile, the kill actually comes bottom as Yoki dies. Well, I missed that one. I also missed the follow-up. So 1 for 1. Marana and Doom both fall. The living armor comes in, but it can't be everywhere.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And the thing is, you were actually watching the living armor sequence, so.
Yeah, if they use living armor bottom, then someone probably lives there instead. But
yeah, exactly.
Them's the breaks, man.
That's right.
Them's the breaks. The diving Chachel yet again, but he's got Firefly here, and the shield already used on Mini.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. If they wanted to commit, which it seemed like they did, then the shield definitely should have gone on Ace, so he can tank the Firefly as he's chasing the Batrider, and then Batrider takes him.
Oh, this is going for it. Say my Wild's gotten a bit low here, and when the Night Stalker's close, you can't hit those long-range W or C raises, but he can juke. Not enough. One more right click will bring him down. He might die on the way out, though. Oh, if he had ran north, maybe he would have lived. Bottling up. Not gonna get out. I think if he had just run this way, he would have lived.
For sure. That was a very good point that you made. He would have gotten the full-time vision to see if there was a creep wave coming as well, and possibly avoided that and all the other possible circumstances. But as it stands, Ancient Apparition TPing now has that critical level 6 Ice Blast before the 6-minute mark. Yeah, that's actually a really big deal. If this comes out unexpectedly on somebody like top lane, for example, they are gonna suffer. They're gonna suffer big.
And they've been tower diving too, so one more Bat tower dive with Bat having lasso, although no mana right now. Yeah, could end in disaster here for MYM. I kind of like this adjustment. So Tabo out, it's nighttime, it's dangerous, put him in the woods, keep him maybe near the Doom, and just basically wait out the first night. The Night Stalker is on the prowl and he's hunting mid, but if you're gonna lose somebody, you'd rather it's this Ancient Apparition than... speaking of which, they're probably gonna lose him. I'll just throw out the ult.
Oh, Exist. Oh,
Zoning
Exist.
ultimate. Where's those raises? 1, 2, 3. Actually nails them with all 3. They're only level 3 raises though. But that would have been an easy kill.
Oh man, and this Night Stalker is considering the turnaround.
Man, what a ballsy Night Stalker this has been.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Has to be like this game though.
I would have liked to see Crit drop a ward here though. You know the SF wants to be in the woods, but they're not gonna drop the ward yet.
That's a very good point. I wonder why they didn't. Might have actually just passed by them the idea, because I think if he was thinking about it that kind of detail, then he would have certainly done it.
Yeah. Then also, there's interestingly enough, this Marana's not taking Moonlight Shadow, which is pretty unusual nowadays.
With the 75 mana cost, it's ridiculously strong.
I feel like personally, I just feel like there's almost no situation where you shouldn't take it, but maybe this is the one. Ancient Apparition comes in time. Gonna hit Mini. Is it enough to kill him? Gonna shield up, but they're gonna leech seed him. Try and dive him at the tower. Dread, he's gonna take a lot of damage. Was it worth it? Gonna feed the Weaver a kill here, I feel. No, maybe not with the Doom in the fight. Just got the abated death notification. I don't know how that just happened. Okay. Thanks, Dota. Only like 2 minutes late.
Thank you, base Dota. Wow, power treads up on the Shadow Fiend now. It is a little bit slow because he did die once, and so his CSing is suffering a bit. But Exist is now able to play aggressive because he's already gauged the situation beforehand, saying that I was able to fight you up. Now the Living Armor comes in as well as the support from Bane. Let's see if they can get the follow-up.
Oh, and Jeffrey's gonna connect onto. Oh man. No flame break though. I don't think they need it. Crit will fall. They'll be able to probably lasso Exist in. Juking away from the arrow. Nicely played by Shadechlo. And Exist now pulled up onto a cliff. Nowhere to run. He'll die in the flames. And Murano actually leaps into the trees, gets caught there in the process.
Yeah, and has the TP up. That's actually quite unfortunate for Unicorn. He's not going to get a lot out of that base TP because he was low on mana, but he could have certainly kept farming the lane and pushing the tower with his Ring of Aquila. Now he's going to rotate elsewhere. And
it also creates a little extra space for the Shadow Fiend. With Night Stalker dead and it's daytime, and Bane's not yet level 6, they can just farm mid aggressively. Good situation. Doom is still not level 6 though. That's the one concern here for Relax, but he'll have his ult soon.
Yep. Very, very soon. Within one creep, so his Devour's coming up, but we'll see if the Devour kicks in or the creep dies beforehand. Regardless, 2 to 5 in 9 minutes in favor of Relax right now. Looking at the lineups, LD, it's already looking pretty scary for MYM.
Yeah, and I feel like the Night Stalker has been okay so far, but that ill-advised dive mid where he just got picked off by Inch Apparitional really hurt them.
Yeah,
before that it was going fine, but now there's a lot of space for Relax.
But honestly, that AA blast should not have been online for the top engagement.
He should not have been level 6 yet. It was because he got the kill mid on the NS.
They just say calculated space made. The SF purposely fed the Night Stalker to give him a little bit more, and you fatten the calf before you slay it, right?
Next level Dota. Well, Ace has gone Midas, so I are gonna get a little greedy here with their Weaver. No Murano Midas yet though.
I don't mind that decision actually. It's once again one of those games that if they go later on, it's gonna be near impossible to come back. This is just one item that helps you with this regard.
Yeah, and I guess they ultimately do have the 3 cores in theory. Sure, not the hardest carries, but some heroes that can take the game quite late if they have enough items.
Yeah.
Whereas Relax, I feel like it's the mid game where they're especially fearsome. Not to say they're not good late, because they definitely are.
Most certainly.
Well, we're in for a slow pace for now anyway. There's a Murano moving through the woods. Not gonna find the SF though. Oh, top lane. Oh, nothing going here. I feel like I'm about to miss a kill. I just have this foreboding feeling, but there's just nothing going on.
No, just casual harassment now. Dread's leech seeded up a creep as it was dying because that leech seed provides you with a mech basically, and you get the living armor on top. So he regen back from about 600 HP back to 900 in no time. In the meanwhile, we see Doom in the jungle. Last time I checked him, he had 1.8k gold. Now he's got something else rotating for him for sure. And yeah, there it is. He's going for the Midas as well.
Oh boy.
Fight fire with fire.
This is a lot of pressure on MYM now. Once they see this Midas, they're gonna be like, oh shit, we really need to start making things happen. And AA's going Midas too. Looks like it. I mean, it could be Treads, but this really reeks of a Midas to me.
Yeah.
You'd see like an urn normally here.
These days, man, when you see that level pace come out before the stat item, you know that's gonna become a...
That's a freaking Midas, dude.
Once again, I feel like this is more of a reaction than anything else that they had planned beforehand. But it's a winning strategy. What can I say? The item it's so good not only at giving yourself the advantage, but punishing the opponent for the mistakes. Just works so well. Yeah,
every single mistake, it's like an extra 50 seconds for the Midas to cool down, be used again, and of course farming time on top of that. So it's gonna get tough. And this is where like SF's not that far off of a BKB, honestly. He's got Ogre Club. Pretty close to the Mithril Hammer, and if you give just the SF a BKB, that alone, I don't know how MYM kill him. They have no damage at all really against that.
Right. They certainly will have a very hard time, especially if they're not the ones that are forcing the engagements with the Abaddon shield, as well as the initiations coming out of some of their heroes with Bane and Priestess combos.
But
maybe they should just go triple Midas. Get a Murano Midas.
Well, that's the
Night
thing.
Stalker Midas.
I don't know about those, but I was gonna say that I think this Shadow Fiend actually should get Midas this game. With the casual Ogre Club and keeping his power treads on strength, he's gonna have enough HP to survive most engagements. I really do feel like if they want to win this strategically and play the style that the opposition is kind of forcing them to play, I feel like Midas is really the best pickup. And Tame My Wild, 1.5k gold. I know it's not enough for a Mithril Hammer, but it sure seems like he does want that Midas. And I'm actually hoping he gets it, even though it's gonna provide to be a...
I'm not sure if having 1.5k gold means he wants the Midas, dude. I think
all of a sudden it does.
Maybe you want him to get the Midas.
I want to believe, man. I want to believe. It would be the correct decision in this case. I really feel that way.
Okay. Well, we'll see if he makes the correct decision then. I'm just kidding. Yeah, they've got a feed script here though. They want to go on MYM, but unfortunately the Batrider lassos out. Tame My Wild actually misses on the first race, then he gets silenced, but the HF Rishnolt comes through. It's gonna connect. Crit will burn. Or rather, shatter, I guess you would say. Arrow's gonna come in, but a Zoni Requiem drives them back. Now, another whiffed race. He's really having trouble connecting on these. There you go. Cancels it, finally hits it, and now drives them back. Well, the thing is, that Blink Dagger lasso caught them completely off guard. I don't know why. It's 14 minutes in, but, you know, it's one thing to see it as a spectator and another thing to play against it.
Absolutely. I think they certainly are feeling the heat a little bit right now. Just having that sense of urgency, kind of saying, we have to go, we have to go. All of a sudden, the result is that from 2 to 5, they went 2 to 7. Their early game heroes are getting further and further behind as the game progresses to the mid-late game stages. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know if the Midas is necessity. But if you get the Midas, it's pretty much the nail in the coffin saying, you're done.
You're cooked. Your goose is cooked. The thing is also, like, that was their first Fiend's Grip, so now that's on cooldown for another 40 seconds. The Mirana ult was used as well. A lot of their key gang abilities, not to mention Precious Nighttime, has been used for that as well. So it's not just the fact that the gank doesn't work, it's they used up a lot of their next opportunities. Their next opportunities are delayed because those ones failed as well, basically. And now they will go on Yoki top, but he's already rather tanky here, and with living armor, very hard to kill. They can't even scratch him.
Yeah, that must be so frustrating for Exist right now. The thing is, Ace is actually still doing pretty well. He's got the Midas, he's got 700 gold on top of the Perseverance, and you can see his item progression coming in rather steadily. For Exist, however, the story is completely different. Now he has teleport to the bottom lane. As a Night Stalker, at pretty much during the prime time of your nighttime, you never want to show yourself in the lane. And the fact that Exist is forced to do so, and possibly the one that's about to get ganked up, this is bad news.
Why did that bat TP'd out? I thought they were just going to kill the Night Stalker, but instead he's trying to force the issue top and completely waste his lasso. No idea why he'd go for that with a bat in right there to just aphotic shield it off immediately. But yeah. I think they should have just gone bottom on Exist. Like, the team was ready for it. The Ancient Apparition ult came in, they even TP'd in the SF, and then mysteriously the bat just went top. Maybe someone made a call and said you need to come, but I think that was the right call.
I feel like, you know what, I feel like what must have happened is that they had a misunderstanding. As I say, that Unicorn does get a pick off on Trian at the mid lane. I personally missed it, but I'm hoping you caught it.
Yeah, it was a naked arrow, and then Bane just came with a brain sap, but I didn't actually get the arrow, only the very end. By the way, Midas number 2 is out.
On who? Unicorn?
On both teams, actually. Mirana as well as the Ancient Apparition.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Doom on the mini though, but I believe the ult still procs, right? Even through this?
No, it doesn't. It's a complete shutdown. Yeah. It's the only thing that completely shuts it down. Aside from Max.
Never mind that. Well worth it then, I guess, killing the Abat in there. But we'll keep on working on this tower. The Bane's waiting in reserve on the sides.
Just looking at the bottom lane chase down, and Exist does pop his ulti. This is actually one of those things too. I hate doing this with Night Stalker. Being forced to pop your darkness at level 1. A lot of times what you'll find is when you get your level 2 darkness at level 11, what's gonna happen is your darkness is still on cooldown because you used it when it had that 180-second cooldown at level 1. But I'm gonna have to...
And it only lasts for 25 seconds is the other thing.
Yeah, that's right. I thought I had to hold that thought, but apparently no engagement. As they say that, yeah, there was. The Batrider did initiate on crit, and Encore, they say, as they get the Bane the second time.
Now they're diving Exist because it is daytime. They have an HF Apparition ult here. They're thinking about a tree ult, but just a pump fake from Dread.
And he's still pump faking, just to say, hey, I liked how that looked.
The Weaver is still farming away top, actually farming well for Ace. Almost has his ultimate orb, but it's fighting uphill really. When you're up against an SF who's had this much space, it's very hard to keep up with any carry. They'll deny their 2 on mid, but the dive comes on the bottom lane now. Dread's there in the front line, and now the SF just starts going to work. He'll get off the ultimate though. The Apparition ult comes through a bit late. Actually, Windex almost dead, but it's just like, where's my team, man? Where the hell is my team?
I actually think what MYM is doing in response is perfect. They really, really needed tier 1 towers, even though the Weaver is farming decently. and it looks like they're about to secure at least one here.
Oh, SF comes in, he's got a BKB, and he's just gonna man up on Exist. He needs to hit these races, though. Now he turns around, very hesitant, and Exist is just juking him. Finally whiffs the raise, hits the raise. Oh boy. Had to work for these kills.
Oh.
I feel like he's overthinking his own raises a bit at this point now.
Yeah.
Did they miss a tower deny?
Yeah, no, they actually didn't get the deny. They didn't have to deny because the Treant tossed the living armor on it, and now it's healed up outside of deny range. So I think that's a really big deal. And now the Treant is doing similar things with top lane.
Uh-oh. Oh, Bane. Oh, Bane.
Oh, Bane.
He does have the Abaddon here, who just shielded him. It's blocking a little bit of this damage, but actually I think it'll be enough to keep him alive.
Yeah, between all of his other spells. Looks like it's fine.
I'm afraid Radiant's middle tower is under siege.
Fly. Does connect on the edge of apparition. But that'll be it. They'll just go back to farming, and yeah, they've got the BKB on Tame by Wild, so he's pretty much invulnerable to ganks, unless they Fiend's Grip him. That's the only way he'll die. Or arrow him from the trees, I guess. So, we'll just farm. Midas Gaming, at its best.
Now, I actually want to get your take on this one. The Mechanism Doom, it's been garnering so much popularity as of late, but what do you think about this without my extra thoughts on it?
I like Mech on Doom. It just depends on the lineup. Like there'll be some games where your team doesn't have a great initiator, and then I feel like you need something like the Blink Dagger and the Centaur Stomp, or just the Shadow Blade in certain scenarios. But when they already have Bat to initiate, and they maybe even like if you want to be cheeky, you've got your Nature's Guide potentially. But I think mainly having Bat, you don't really need the Doom to initiate, and he doesn't have to carry either. You've got SF for that, so I think this game it's a good pickup. But I do think sometimes it's a mistake, and sometimes you need more of like a carry right click or, you know, Shiva is like hard carry Doom type of thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing, because a lot of times Mech is seen as one of those items that gives you that sustain in the fight, the extra burst heal and all these other things with the stats gain and the armor. It's great, but why not have it go on a support hero that's more suited for that role, such as the Apparition with a Midas, who's actually going to go into the Scepter, or the Treant Protector with the Arcane Boots looking for his next item at 1.4k gold. As I say, that crit is going to go down in similar fashion for about how many times this game?
Jesus.
Yeah, he's getting picked off a lot because he's easy to kill with the Bat Rider, and feels like Doom. Just walk up to him, cast one spell, and
it looks
Bane
like
is
they're
pretty
going
much
after
sitting
Dire's
down.
middle tower.
They are running 2 Midases on their cores. I guess that's the nice thing.
Radiant's top tower
But
is
I
under
wonder
attack.
though, I mean, if you're gonna play this kind of style,
Radiant
why not go for
structures are
those
fortified.
better scaling heroes? I mean, in the early game, ironically this game, MYM didn't get the lead, and
Radiant's
most of the
top
times
tower
when I
is
see
being
them
attacked.
commit themselves in this manner, they usually do. So I think a lot of it has to come down to the Night Stalker, how it panned out. As I say that, Yoki's getting initiated on, but who's really getting
Radiant's top
initiated? Because
tower is
Exist
under
looks like
attack.
he's about to get surrounded.
Oh, the arrow is coming here. They unwind the Requiem. Exist walks right into it. One raise is on the mark, but the sleep is actually going to come through. Keeps Exist alive. Unfortunately, he's got no urn charges. If he tries to TP out, this isn't going to work. He's just going to burn down to the flame. And then on the other side of the fight, the SF is going hard. 2 raises, nails another. Tame my Wild doing worse, but now he needs some help here. He needs this Treant to come in. They get off the stomp, but Ace quickly aphotic shielded. Now another arrow snipes and threads the needle. Brings down Tame, who promptly pops and does a ton of damage on the way out. Your Mirana's gonna juke into the trees, and the Weaver's just going deep. And stick charges. He got Shadeshow's gem as well in the midst of this fight, so in the end, it turns out quite well. And they're actually sticking around.
Teamwork in action.
Oh, he does bring down the Abaddon, but are they gonna be able to kill off anyone else here? Actually, Doom's cooling down. Ace needs to make his retreat.
And that's pretty much the definition of the punishment that entails overstays. The Abaddon tried to keep the Weaver company by giving him the supplementary spells that the Weaver needs to get more aggressive, because he did have the magic stick charges as you called out, but he also had the time lapse. So Weaver had a lot of things going for him, but as it stands, the rest of his team is not so survivable or tanky. So they took the fall before him, and a lone Weaver is not the strongest Weaver.
Radiant's top tower has been taken.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is that they did that fight. That fight was without Doom being ready, but now it's up. And now the Shiva's Guard recipe is up. And actually, this Doom's about to have Shivas. 12k net worth. We're 22 minutes in. SF with an Eagle Song. The item pickups that are coming out for Relax are just game-changing, whereas, what does Weaver have? Does he have a big item yet? Treads.
He has the Lincoln.
Oh, he's gotten his Treads on his Reign of Aquila. No damage items for him. Your Night Stalker's just got a play booster. And Mirana needs her Lincolns and another item. So, yeah, I feel like Relax are about to hit a big point of strength very soon.
Yeah, they are definitely going to stumble upon a wall relatively shortly here as Relax looks like they're poised to take more of the map. The Batrider is farming the enemy jungle, and however, it is still nighttime, so they know that they have that vision deficiency. Now, Roshan all of a sudden becomes a hot topic of interest because with all your tier 1 towers up on the Dire side, when you're 10 kills ahead of an early game lineup on the opponent, it's basically free. And it's only a matter of time in my head. Only a matter of time before they decide to pursue that out, because all they need is a bottom ward. Even if they get forced into an engagement by, say, something like a Mirana ultimate, they can probably still win because they're so far ahead in items.
And their team's just so much better on the pit anyway. There's nothing against the BKB Shadow Fiend, aside from the grip, but you're not getting a grip off when Relax have their whole team there. Maybe you get a bottom though, where they find stage low. That'll be a nice kill. And then they can try to push off with it. But Ancient Apparition comes in. And now the Shivas is online. Arrow goes in mid, it connects on Team Alum. Suddenly the SF's gonna fall as well. 2 cores down. This is MYM just being given a freebie in some ways in both lanes. Nice arrow though, and that will push your mid. SF had no time to BKB.
Yeah, that was definitely a nice arrow.
Did they? Oh, and did they living armor there? I think they might have already used a bottom thing. But it wasn't on cooldown.
No, they didn't living armor the SF. They living armor the tower with the fortification. And actually, speaking of which, I really don't like how that interacts, but it is what it is.
What, being able to heal towers?
Well, no, that's one thing. But you know when you glyph, and you living armor the glyph, I'm gonna throw that off. Dread is getting an issue. Tower goes down a bit.
Most his ultimate here, and a blink dagger, but not gonna go. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they've taken the tier 1. The Weaver's suddenly up to 2,000 gold. The SF, who is getting closer to a butterfly, all he needs still is the Talisman of Evasion. But the tier 1 Foley makes this next Rosh just a bit trickier for Relax. There's now a new way for MYM to try and get the jump on them as they can come around from the lane.
Right, trickier is certainly the perfect word, but at the same time we have to keep in mind the Doom. No, you're a flawless speaker, man, no doubt. But it doesn't mean much.
What do you want, Clairvoyance? You're trying to get out of me, buddy.
No, man, it doesn't mean much coming from a ESL guy like me. But I do want to point out that Doom was not present in the previous fight. So when this Doom with the Shiva's Guard, as well as the game-changing spell in that Doom, as well as the mech, comes in.
Almost level 3 Doom, by the way.
Yeah,
as well.
Almost level 3. Yeah, you're right. Now, I still feel like this Roshan is certainly theirs, and looks like they're gonna finally decide to go for it. It would be so nice if they can force a fight here, because I feel like they would outright win with their abilities at the moment.
Yeah, Weaver still doesn't have his first damage item. Night Stalker just got Ag, so he can see them better, but can they fight any better? That's debatable. There's an Ancient Apparition available all the way on the top lane. I love the positioning. Just leave him away from the team. So if he shoots an ult, it's going to hit almost everything. But Exist is now here. And of course, he's got the global map hack. He sees pretty much everything. Look at the vision. There's just no sneakiness for Relax. No shenanigans available to them.
Well, it looks like we found the Roshan counter. It's the global map hack.
This is one of my favorite and just completely ridiculous Ags upgrades. Like, maybe not as good as the Ancient Apparition one, but it's just so game-changing. Like, how do you sneak up on this?
Yeah,
can you give him a gem, which he has? It's impossible.
But once again, I still do feel like Relax is so strong that they could just take on a head-on engagement and still win, even with giving the opposition the vision edge. And these arrows are going to come in. They're extra visionary on top of the presence that the Night Stalker is providing. But see, in terms of like objectives, what's this really securing for MYM? Because as I see it right now, all they're doing is delaying the inevitable.
It's securing time for the Ancient Apparition to get an egg. Actually, it's what it's doing. He's 350 gold away.
I mean, the Weaver's on the other side of the map farming. He'll be able to rotate in shortly with the Scoochie if necessary. But honestly, though, I really do feel that MYM, they should pursue other lanes at the moment, because they're holding this presence on the Roche. But I don't know if they can take this fight, man. I really don't.
It's gonna come in. It will connect on the Doom. Is that enough to start the fight? They're thinking about it. From the side comes the Weaver, but they just armor up the Doom. The Shivas gets popped to no avail. Pretty bad Shivas.
That was actually pretty big, because he really wants that Shivas to slow down all the targets in the fight. Now I don't know, they might actually get surrounded because
Dire's courier has been killed.
Well, the Weaver's just hunting our courier. Ace has actually picked it off on the backside of the fight. Didn't have anything on it, but just great guerrilla warfare that he's taken up. And now farming their neutrals, denying them a bit of jungle. Now Relax will go for the rush again, and since it's daytime and there's no Night Stalker ult, I guess they just have to give it up. But hey, they get a courier out of it. And They get a little gold going their way.
Yeah, it's certainly more than I expected, but really though, I don't think there's any way they could have bottomed that lineup. This Doom can literally... This Doom and the Tree and Protector together, with the presence of the Batrider, without the Batrider even doing anything, could probably 2v4 the lineup of MYM. And of course when the Weaver
And then you
comes
throw
in,
Requiem on top, and yeah.
yeah, things get really, really tricky, as you said. And it's just...
In some ways they get simpler now. Relax with an Aegis and a Butterfly coming for the SF. And the Batrider just having his core items. They've got great initiation, and they've got the Ags on the Diversion. He'll be firing some shots from the well. They can just push down mid.
In the meanwhile,
maybe the in-game kind. The in-game kind.
yeah. And of course now Apparition does pick up his Ags, her Ags, or its Ags, whatever. What is that, by the way?
I don't know.
It? Yeah.
Thing.
That ball of ice. Not as attractive as a Crystal Maiden.
Dire's top
That
tower
depends
is
on your
under attack.
perspective.
Ah, I see.
Some people appreciate his alien
Dire's top tower has fallen.
structure, as well as his ultimate flying force, which I didn't
That's
actually
true.
catch because I was busy zooming in on the model. But he's got an Alpha Wolf now. Oh no, he ate the wrong wolf.
Maybe now. Actually,
Only got the crit. He didn't get the damage aura. How do you eat the?
oh,
he ate the baby
he
wolf.
really did. Yeah.
Oh, Yoki, come on, man. Step your game. I don't know if it's possible they just left the Alpha Wolf there, or they killed it and I didn't see it, but I don't think so.
Considering
I
all
can't
the
blame him
options.
too hard since I came late to that neutral camp, but
True, that's true. You gotta run
really
the
sure he ate
options.
the wrong wolf. HF version ult's here, but
Radiant's
suddenly
bottom
there's
tower
2
is
heroes
under
for
attack.
MYM. I don't think he knew the Weaver was ready.
No, certainly not. Now the smoke is coming out for MYM at the mid lane. They're rotating themselves to the top lane. This is actually a pretty decent timing. Relax's heroes are scattered, and this Apparition almost looks like he has no idea, and there it is.
Oh, almost looks like he's no idea. Definitely has no idea. Arrow to fly. The living armor's there, but Windex should make it out of this one. They might have to blow a lot. He's quite tanky, but the Brain Sap cleans it up. And now they'll have to split push. They'll go in the bottom lane. The Doom's like, you know what? I want speed armor. This guy just can't make up its mind.
Dire's top tower.
It's a little indecision from Yoki, but yeah, they'll take a tier 2 for a tier 2.
Radiant's bottom
And
tower has
that's
fallen.
not a bad trade.
It seems
Relax, in
apparent that
spite of
Radiant's
losing
chosen
HF
to
version,
strengthen
they
their
at
structures.
least make the smart decision and
Dire's
don't try
top
and
tower
force
is
that
under
down.
attack, and Dire's top tower falls
I agree with
like
their
in
what they
front
call,
of us.
especially
They made a beeline
in
for
respect to the
Radiant's
follow
bottom
up.
tower.
Now, Tame Wild is solo pushing this bottom. He has Aegis, so I guess he's feeling confident, but I don't know because he's so isolated from his team that even if he dies at this point, if he dies once, he might die again. But as I say that, Yoki is here for the backup.
There's a Blink Dagger suit, and there's a Fiend's Grip ready,
Radiant's
but Doom's
bottom
here in the
tower is under
backside.
attack.
And now they boot some
Here's the
travel in
turnaround.
the bat, and suddenly it's Relax in pursuit, and MYM turn tail and run.
Yeah. And now there's a nice haste rune sitting at bottom lane for Tame My Wild. I thought he was going to enjoy that, but instead he rotates to top lane to secure more farm.
Maybe Shachelo, actually. Yeah. I like the idea of giving it to the bat.
Ah, right.
It's like a free Mask of Madness without the extra
Yeah.
damage.
Mask of Madness, that's a fantastic item, isn't it?
By the way, I was casting a Bone 7 game, and he didn't go Mask of Madness after Boots of Travel 4-staff Blink. I was so disappointed. I almost threw my,
Yeah.
took my mic off in disgust and left the game.
Oh yeah? Yeah.
Almost.
You
But
should
it was actually a good game to get a BKB, so I can't really fault him. He wasn't
Bone
staying
7.
true to himself,
No,
you know?
no, certainly not. Bone 7 buying BKB, that reeks of soft.
He's gotten soft, man.
Being bullied around all
Gotta
over.
keep that competitive fire.
Yeah, man. Ever since MLG, he's crawled up in a shell.
Oh boy, shots getting fired all over the place. But going with the lasso here to start off with Shachel, and then Doom comes in, and that's just a dead. And that's a gem. Oh, he dropped the gem as well. And then they throw out a celebratory dust.
Okay.
Make room for the
Yeah.
gem. I love it.
Yeah, for a second I was like, are you looking for another kill after that
That's
happened?
a BM. That's a BM.
Yeah.
No, but it was actually a good time to use it.
Now 8-16, they're leading 2 times in terms of the scoreboard. Running down mid straight, Tame My Wild, from just completing his butterfly, has now a Crystallis as well as a Morbid Mask is his name. He's looking super strong, and people does go on, but can they hold this one?
I don't know. Gonna be tough. They are TP'd in some backup. Meanwhile, the top lane's pushing in for the Weaver. Still on his grip, but only for a little while. Then Dread jumps in, and he brings the roots to bear. Then they Doom up the Abaddon, but the ult's already been popped, so Well, kept alive for the time being.
This will be
Unicorn
pretty. They've
dropping
reached
fast in his
milestone
own right. He'll just go
Oh,
down to the
man.
deeps. The right click from Team Wild. They're fearsome. Suddenly they're asleep. The Bane, I believe, fought back for this. And now rejoins the fray. BKB coming out from Team Wild. Rays off the mark, and, well, he's actually going to run out BKB. Still has the Aegis, at least for now. Not sure how long's left of that. A blink. The stomp on the crit. Where's the SF when they need him? They don't even need him. Team Wild keeps on getting healed up. The living armor deployed again. The life steal's in there. And they're just going to muscle down the racks. And with the Weaver rejoining the fight, not split pushing top. Not going to get anything in return. So MYM in danger of dropping their second game of the day. Relax. If they win this one, suddenly they're 7-4, and a 4-staff, a blink, and then a lasso in, and Shakelow, he's real didn't exist, and then drops him with the Requiem. Ace now on the run. Ace has time lapse, he'll juke away, but to no avail. This will be the seculated racks, and this will pretty much be game.
Pretty much. No signs of stopping this push, and once again, as we called it from the start, it just seems like MYM's lineup has so much shortcomings when it comes to the mid-game / late-game stages without getting a very, very beneficial and a very heavy advantage in the early game. So I think it's no real mystery that things have transpired the way they did. Now Ace is trying to run away, maybe helps him with the 4-staff, but that doesn't save your Raxus, unfortunately.
Oh, they did hit an arrow on Tame My Wild, but yeah, it doesn't look too good. They sleep up. Shadeshow is their Fiend script. Oh, 5 seconds to go. They're juggling in sleep quite a bit. Now the Shivas gets popped, and suddenly SF turns around, head full of steam, and just charges in. But now there's a Fiend script. Arrow to fly. The BKB ends. Oh, but the 4-staff's there. And as well as the living armor. I think they can still grip him and get this kill. Oh no! Dread with the big wombo combo turnaround. Huge blink overgrowth. Ancient Apparitional flies forth. They will bring down the Weaver on the backside of the fight. Now exists. Lassoed up. Tame My Wild is being backed up hard by his mates here. And I think they'll bring down Exist. They will. It's a triple kill for Tame. The GGs and the insta disconnects for MYM. Not sticking around even once the throne fall. Well, relax. 26-8. They take care of business.
Yeah, what can I say? I feel like MYM really did draft themselves into the hole there. You know, they had this nice plan in the early game where they wanted to execute the nice